So, hi everyone. I'll present intercultural differences between Ukraine and the Netherlands. And I will start with my name. My name is Anastasia, and there's one question that I get asked from most of my international friends is why there are two eyes? Because, like, why? And to explain this, we go back to Ukrainian language, Ukrainian and script that we use. So here's originally my name in Ukrainian, and you can see the two last letters. So first, like pre-last letter is indicates I sound, and last letter is indicates ya sound. And you can also see it here, yeah, like you would say in yard. But in English language, there are no like one letter to show this. So they just use I and A. That's why I have two letters in my name. Later we are seeing in which countries and in which languages they use Cyrillic script. So most of it like East Europe, but also like North Macedonia, and here they also use Cyrillic script. Then I will compare Netherlands with Ukraine using Edgar Schein's culture model. This culture model is mainly, it was a big investment in field organizational development, and now it's used as academic analysis tool. We will start with artifacts of like building where people live. Here you can see, I will start from the top one. This is the older style of building. Here you can see typical Dutch houses. And on the right side, you can see more older ones of Ukraine. There is fun fact, so this type of building is called Khrushchevki, because they were built during Leonid Khrushchev was like a president of the Soviet Union. And this house called Stalinka, because they were built during Stalin. Also, these are more like cheaper ones, and these more fancy ones because of decoration, and also these have like higher ceilings and bigger windows. And big windows in Ukraine is like a top level, not necessity. And here you can see more modern buildings where people live. This is photo from Amsterdam Zuid. And this is two examples of living like apartment complex in Kiev. Then we will go more to not living houses architecture. So in Netherlands, people use more like Gothic style and neo-Gothic style, while in Ukraine we would use more Baroque, like this one church, and more constructivism, like futurism style. Also, fun fact, this is building, this hotel building, and by plan, it should have been built for like 30 floors, but because of financial reasons, now it's like. Then we go to actual interior. So here is the example of interior of Dutch apartment and of Ukrainian. What I noticed myself is that in Dutch apartment, most of people they have white walls, while in Ukraine it's not that often. We would paint it in some kind of hue, like gray, or we would have a wallpaper on it. Also, weird stuff about couches. Here I would often see them in the middle of living room, while in Ukraine we would just push every furniture to the edges, so we have like a nice space in the middle. Another part about interiors, windows. People here in Netherlands, due to historical reasons, they keep them open, like we have nothing to hide. While in Ukraine, we would close it, because my father would be afraid that somebody from outside will see a nice TV and they will just steal it. So we would just keep it from thieves. Other
Do you also have, like, is it common to have iron bars in front of the windows as well then? Or?
No.
No, because like in some cultures you have like iron bars in front of the windows, like in Palestine.
No, we don't have. It's like pretty much safe. We just don't want our house to be like as a target.
Okay. No, fair enough.
People.
Just
Sometimes the bars on the first floors, especially when you can literally climb. But like sometimes.
Yeah.
I'll continue with exports values is the main three differences that I can see between Netherlands and Ukraine. So Dutch people are often on time, and it's a big stereotype, while Ukrainian not always on time, especially me. People are more direct, and also in Ukraine we are like quiet speakers. That's why for me, like Dutch people are like louder speakers. And the interesting part about underlying assumptions, because each behavior have like meaning, like logical meaning under it. So due to my questionnaire to two of my neighbors, I conducted research. So on time, why Dutch people on time? It's because they value each other time, show respect, and it's just more efficient. While in Ukraine, like some people are just more chaotic in planning, and especially like personal for me, the reason is that self-deception. So I just put unrealistic goals that I will wake up, I need 15 minutes to get ready and be in uni, and then I just don't reach it. About keep it in, like normally as a kid I wouldn't be allowed to say some bullshit because like I need to be like polite. While in Netherlands people are more direct because they just don't see why not to say direct and more efficient, and it's more like social norm in Netherlands. In Ukraine we're like quiet speakers because we don't want to disturb others in like transport. If you would talk loudly, people would just look aside at you, really mean. And also we don't want other people to know what's going on in our like life. So while in Netherlands, they just like people feel more free, people have more right, and also in Ukraine historically we were like repressed a bit. So we also, that's the reason why we are like white speakers. Fun fact, Ukraine was part of Soviet Union for 69 years. And it has a big effect on our cultural thing. In this graph you can see different aspects of culture. The biggest gap we have in indulgence. I interpreted indulgence as like allowing yourself to be happy, and people can often hear phrases like, how can you sit and rest? You have like a bunch of work to do. Then power distance, it's the same as Poland. We have like, because we are neighboring countries, that's why we have a similar culture. So gap between you and your boss is like pretty high. Boss is not a friend. Individualism, I interpreted it as self-reliable. So we are not really self-reliable. We are raised with phrases from teachers, from older generations, just be like others. Uncertainty avoidance. We often can hear, don't do that, you don't know what it is. And most of people, they like prefer to stay in country because they like just avoid uncertainty. Then I will focus on stuff that we are more similar with Netherlands, is motivation toward achievement is success, and long-term orientation, where we like pretty much the same level. Also, speaking about Ukrainian culture, and most of previous parts, it was just affected by like Soviet Union and by culture, but because of political situation. Now we just get rid of like Russian culture and try to embrace more of our culture and go more pro-European. And the last part of my presentation is educational differences. Here you can see the typical class in Ukraine in school. For me, I wasn't in university in Ukraine, so it would be a bit hard to like compare. It's education system in Ukraine and education system in Netherlands. So the main difference and interesting fact is that in Ukraine we have like secondary general school, so you can be with the same people from 1st grade to 12th grade in the same school. Then people in Ukraine, people start to go to school from like 6 years, 7 years, while in Netherlands they go from like 4/5 years. Yeah, that's the main differences. And here is the graph of differences between two computer science degrees. One in Ukraine, it's in Windesheim University, and one here in Windesheim. So price, I was surprised that it's so like high price to study in Ukraine because our salaries are much lower. Also, price in Ukraine like depends a lot on the location. So like not in Kyiv, but everywhere else, like in smaller city, you would pay much less. Entrance exam here to get to university, you have to finish your previous degree, show, and you're in. While in Ukraine, you have much more complicated system. After the school, you take like everyone after the school take national test where you can choose the subjects, and based on the subjects with very complicated system, you get to your grade is calculated and you get to uni or not. And the last part is scholarship. Scholarship in Ukraine based on your grade and on your rank between your classmates, while in Windesheim it's based on your family income. In Netherlands, it's based on your family income. Next part is fun part. A website. It's when I saw first time a website in like Dutch universities, I was like, wow, how expensive is it? You can take a QR code and look through website but I would put a warning if you're like sensitive, don't do it.
I'm curious.
Especially I was doing web design in my home university, so.
You have done a project for your school, because I see that.
Yeah, and this is about us page. And this is study programs page. You can see the difference. And for me to get a prize for a like computer science degree, I downloaded PDF file with big table and scrolled to see a prize. Yeah. Also, differences between schedule. So here's my schedule in college in Ukraine, and here's schedule my now. So now I have more like subject-based schedule, while in Ukraine in college I had more of like electional courses that are actually like compulsory. So I had, besides my interior design degree, I had also like psychological lessons, occupational safety, physical education. We had like a separate subject, and history of Ukraine. And for the last fun fact is stuff that I myself discovered the last like recently. Carol of the Bells is original Ukrainian song. I know that it's like Ukrainian, but I didn't know that it's original Ukrainian. And that's it for my presentation.
Is the university cost, is it state finance? Because like here, our government determines the price for every university. That's why it's the flat. Does the government pay for part of your university costs?
I don't know. I haven't
Okay, fair enough. Because like you said, it changes per city, so that tells me like.
Yeah, it's different in every city, but yeah, I don't know why. Is it like government or?
Is it determined by those universities, do you think?
I think so.
Or